Swiatek looks to Nadal as Fissette. Tension emerges. Rybakina's confession. Phil's best result. Eala gets advice. Thursday's headlines from the 2026 Miami Open include IGA Swiatek being set for a link-up with Rafael Nadal and a claim that there was tension between the Pole and her ex-coach Wim Fissette. We also have news of Arthur Fils achieving the best result of his career to date, Elena Rybakina making a confession about her attitude, and Eala receiving advice about her game. Here is our latest roundup of the biggest stories from the Hard Rock Stadium and beyond in the tennis world. Tension and red flags in Swiatek and Fissette's partnership. Swiatek split with Fissette, who she had been coached by since October 2024, after her shock loss to Magda Linette in Miami. Former world number 1 Kim Clijsters worked with Fissette between 2009 and 2011, and she has claimed that her fellow Belgian's coach-player relationship with Swiatek did not seem natural. You could see that there was tension already for a few months and frustration, and that their natural kind of player-coaching relationship wasn't really where it should be at, and I think those were a couple of red flags, said the four-time Grand Slam champion. Read more. IGA Swiatek, former world number 1 spotted, tension with Wim Fissette and a couple of red flags. Swiatek to train at Nadal's academy. Swiatek idolizes 22-time major winner Nadal, and she will train at the legendary Spaniards Academy in Mallorca in preparation for the clay court season, according to a report in Poland. In addition, Swiatek's longtime physiotherapist Maciej Rysuk has revealed the world number 3 intends to have a new coach in place for her next tournament in Stuttgart. Read more. IGA Swiatek set for Rafael Nadal link-up as her physio reveals plan for new coach. Fils achieves best result with epic Miami win. Fils, the world number 31, saved 4 match points to beat 23rd-ranked Tommy Paul 6-7-3, 7-6-4, 7-6-6 in a thrilling 2-hour, 47-minute Miami Open quarterfinal. The 21-year-old Frenchman has described reaching his maiden Masters 1000 semifinal as the best result I had in my life so far. Popular on Tennis 365. He is up to 28th in the live ADP rankings and could climb to 22nd if he beats Jiri Lehecka to reach the final. Read more. Miami Open. What did Arthur Fils say after epic Tommy Paul win? And how has it affected his ranking? Rybakina makes attitude confession. In the first set of her 2-6, 6-3, 6-4 quarterfinal win over world number 5 Jessica Pegula in Miami, Rybakina had a disagreement with her coach Stefano Volkov as she declared, "What are you talking about?" The world number 2 admitted afterwards, "I didn't start well at all and got frustrated with my mistakes. I started rushing and couldn't control my attitude." Read more. Miami Open. Elena Rybakina makes confession about her attitude after argument with coach. Greg Rosetsky's message for Eala. Eala exited the Miami Open with a crushing 0-6, 2-6 fourth-round loss to world number 14 Karolina Muchova, the same scoreline by which she lost to Linda Noskova in the same round in Indian Wells earlier in March. Former world number 4 Greg Rosetsky has assessed that the 20-year-old Filipina must improve her serve to become less vulnerable to these one-sided defeats. Read more. Eala told where she needs to improve by former British number 1 as a worrying trend emerges. One more from Tennis 365? Add us as a preferred source on Google to your favorites list for tennis coverage you can trust. The desert air shimmered above the hard courts, a mirage of ambition and pressure bending reality ever so slightly. Beneath it, stories unfolded, not just of matches won or lost, but of identities forming, cracking, and reforming again. IGA stood alone at the baseline long after the crowd had emptied. The echoes of applause had faded, but her thoughts hadn't. She bounced the ball once, twice, then let it rest in her palm. There was a quiet intensity in her gaze, something searching. She had always been compared to greatness, but lately, she had begun studying it. Not just the trophies or the records, but the endurance, the stubborn refusal to yield. The way Rafael Nadal carved his legacy not only through victory, but through suffering, resilience, and ritual. Every tug of the shirt, every careful step before a serve, it wasn't superstition. It was control in chaos. IGA exhaled slowly. "What would you do?" she whispered into the empty stadium, "when everything feels just slightly off?" Because something was off. Her partnership with Vim had begun as a perfect alignment, vision, discipline, trust. But now, there were cracks. Not loud, not explosive. Subtle. A hesitation in tone. A disagreement that lingered longer than it should. Tension didn't announce itself. It seeped in quietly. Again, she told herself, tossing the ball and striking it cleanly across the net. Across the grounds, in a different court lit under softer lights, Elena sat with a towel draped over her shoulders. Reporters had asked her the same questions again, about expectations, about consistency, about whether she felt pressure. She had surprised them. "I don't always enjoy it," she admitted earlier, her voice calm but unguarded. "Sometimes it feels heavy." Now, alone, she stared at her reflection in a darkened phone screen. Heavy. It was a strange word for someone whose game looked so effortless. Her serve flowed like water, her ground strokes landed with quiet precision. But inside, there were days where every swing felt like lifting something invisible and immense. She leaned back and closed her eyes. "What if I just played?" she murmured, "without needing it to mean everything?" The thought lingered like a fragile possibility. On another court, laughter broke the tension of competition. Arthur grinned, shaking his head as he replayed the point in his mind. "That was insane," he said to no one in particular, though his team nearby chuckled in agreement. His best result. The phrase had been repeated to him all day, but it didn't feel like a finish line. It felt like a doorway. For years, he had been the promise. The next. The almost. Now, something had clicked, not just in his game, but in his belief. He wasn't chasing anymore. He was arriving. Still, he knew better than to romanticize it. "Tomorrow," he said, spinning his racket lightly, "it starts again." Because progress didn't celebrate itself for long. And then there was Alex. She sat cross-legged on the practice court, her racket beside her, listening intently. The advice had come not as instruction, but as conversation, simple, grounded, real. "Don't rush your story," her mentor had told her. "You're not behind. You're building." At 18, everything felt urgent. Every match seemed like it carried the weight of proof. But today, something shifted. "What if I'm exactly where I need to be?" she asked softly. The idea settled into her chest, unfamiliar but comforting. Around her, the tournament buzzed with narratives, headlines forming before matches even began. But here in